Hi, welcome to Quiltinator.com. I'm Michelle Johnson. When I first started quilting, I would just go to the fabric store and just have them cut me off a piece. And I would go home thinking it's straight right from the fabric store, and my blocks would come out skewed and cattywampus. I'm going to show you how to fix that. And so the first thing you do is you take your yardage and you iron it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the selvage edges and you're going to line those up. The bottom will have some fullness. And so you're just going to take and you're going to move the fabric with your fingers just slightly to the right or left, or however it straightens out on your fabric. So the middle, you'll turn it over, you'll do the same thing, and then you want to make sure that your selvages are still lined up. If they are, then what you're going to do is you're going to turn your fabric over, and this is the edge you will cut, making sure that your selvages are still lined up. Then you will have a straight of grain cut across your fabric, and it'll be lined up, and hopefully your blocks will turn out better than what mine did. One of the things I wanted to show you is my ruler. And you can, I've already cleaned this side, but on this side you can see I've used pen and Sharpie and pencil, and it makes a mark, and eventually that mark really does come off. And you can see I've kind of already started cleaning it. And what I do is I just take alcohol and put it on a microfiber cloth. I'm pretty sure just a terry cloth towel will work just fine. But all you have to do is just take the alcohol and it rubs it right off. Takes a little work. And then I do the same thing also with my cutting mats, because a lot of times I'm not as careful, and I actually use my cutting mat as a tool to write on, so it'll have spots. So now my ruler is pretty much clean, and you can see that the spots are off, or most of it, and it's come off on the microfiber cloth. So this piece of fabric I actually need some 4.5 inch strips from. And so what I'm going to do is just show you kind of what I do. And I am right-handed, so I'm going to actually be cutting on this side. But what I do is I just take and I will butt my ruler up. And what I've done is, let me show you first. This fabric has been cut into a few times, but it's still not even, the edges. So what I do is I take the middle of the fabric and I line it up with one of the lines on the cutting mat. And then I just take those selvage edges and I will also fold them down, and I try to line those up with another line just to kind of make sure that it stays straight. You don't have to use your cutting mat lines. You could actually flip your cutting mat over and use the other side. But what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put this on what would be the 0, and this one is the 36. This is lined up, and you just pick any line on your ruler, and then you'll line that up with your folded edge, and then you can slide it over to one of the lines, whichever one you kind of want. And then I just take another ruler, because I can't cut left-handed, and I just butt it up. I'll move this down, I have a straight edge. Now I can either take and just cut 4.5 inch strips and measure down from this point, or I can just use my ruler. And this ruler, you know, your 4.5 and then 9. So I can get 2 strips out of this. And what I do is I just take my 9-inch strip, or my 9-inch number, and I put it here on the edge, and then again I line up my, just any one of these lines, I line it up across the bottom. And so now I have 9, and then I can do that again. And I can take this fold and do the exact same thing here at 9 inches. And then once again, another, double check real quick, make sure. Another 9 inches. So I'm just going to take this and put it to the side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these 3 pieces and I'm just going to line them up. You can do it like a deck of cards, and mine are lining up really nice and neat. And then you can just take a longer ruler, because the largest one that I have that's absolutely square is 12 by 12, and that's why I had it folded. But this will be 6 folds of fabric. So what I want to do is just use my board and count 4.5 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. And so we want to just double check. And what I'm doing is I'm taking and lining up the 1/2 inch on the one, and I'm lining it up on the actual 14 here. And I'm making sure it's across the same at the top. Now if you don't feel comfortable doing it this way, you could just take it and make sure that you can do one at a time. It's not a big deal. It's just a matter of keeping it lined up. And if you wanted to, you could have measured, instead of like how I did 9 inches, you could have just done every 4.5 inches. Or if, say, you had a longer ruler and could do 18 or something. So these are lined up. And then I'm going to take and count 1, 2, 3, 4.5. This time my 1/2 inch is going to be on the 15. And then I want to line up, if I can, if there's enough room on my ruler, to try to make one line go across the bottom or across the top. So then I just take and actually this one's got a little sliver of a piece that I want to cut off. Okay. So now, since this still does have a selvage, then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, once again I'm laying these down, and I lay it on a line. This time I'm going to start over here. I wanted to, since I did that, I could flip it over, or if I didn't want to move my fabric, I could move my board. And I could just pick a line, put it on the fold, take the 9-inch, put it on the edge there, cut, and then all I have to do is move down to the 4.5-inch, making sure everything's lined up. Now I have a few pieces done quickly. This doesn't go to a full 9 inches, so I'm just going 4.5 here. And again, I'm making sure that I pick either the top or the bottom. Now, these are actually on a fold. So I would either take these back over and iron them flat because I creased this. And then I would line them up, measure my 4.5 inches, and cut it. So this is how you make your squares on the straight of grain. I'm Michelle Johnson. This is Quiltinator.com, and I am getting back to quilting.